That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and tonight we circle the wagons and eat some darn wings. Let's go. We're in Buffalo. Hey, 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 hey. It's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah! It worked for The Rock, and it's going to work for me.
And you just got slandering.
That's what it is! This court is adjourned.
It is Commissioner Cooper.
Welcome to Sophistication Station.
I'm here to save your fantasy roster.
And it's time for TSS Fantasy. Let's go Buffalo tonight. We are finishing off the AFC East the proper way. I just got to admit it, with the best in the AFC East with Buffalo Bills. Let's get it started tonight. Welcome into the studio, Justin Jesus Herrera.
Yeah, man, the best team of last year in this highly contentious AFC East. It's about to be that way again this year. And, you're wondering, Justin, what were you going to do today? And, I kept it real simple. I was just like, every town has their little piece of Buffalo in it. So I went to mine. I went to the good old-fashioned Buffalo Wild Wings, the B-Dubs. So, guys, I'm super excited because we actually get to talk fantasy today. Yesterday was kind of like, So now we get to actually do some talking of fantasy. It's not a waste of a segment at the end of the day.
That's very true indeed. I like it, but let's just admit the real deal. You came in late, so you were trying to find something that was Buffalo related, and the only thing you could find was Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's be real.
I actually tried to do the groundbreaking ceremony, but I just did not like the people involved in it. I was like, these guys are ugly as fuck.
All righty then. That's the way to get it started. Welcome into the studio, Nick. You got Flandern Macaronis.
Yeah, it's Friday night, and what better do I have to do to be here with you gentlemen? I just got done watching the finale of Ted Lasso. Little emotional, but now we're going to talk about some football, perk up my spirits a little bit. I got the truth man above me, so things are looking up. Let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah. Funny you mentioned that. The wifey was all kinds of crying for that one. That is for sure. For the finale of Mr. Lasso. All right, let's also welcome to the studio Jordan, the Judge Thomas. Welcome into the studio, sir.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here as always. And Cooper, I never thought I would hear some of those words come out of your mouth, man. You were really good. You kind of seemed like a Buffalo Bills fan for just a minute.
I'm not a Buffalo Bills fan. I am a Josh Allen fan. I will say that. I do like Josh Allen quite all. I will admit that. I meant that quite a few times. He's on my dynasty roster. And, I got a good story about Buffalo, how last season and that one game down in Miami, I'm going down there. And I got to tell you, man, for the first time ever, I felt a little intimidated. The Bills fans, they're all with the hey, 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 hey. And I was like, oh, man, we might be in trouble. And, oh, boy, we sure the hell weren't, though, were we? So guess what? I'm ready. All right, let's get it started. Don't forget, guys, go to tssfantasy.com. Check out all of our latest and greatest rankings on there. Also, go to Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code TSS. We'll double that deposit up to $100. Jazz Sportsbook as well. Lots of great promos, so go check us out. Use the promo code TSS when you sign up. And Pro-Am Belts, if you're looking for some great stuff for your league championship, look no further than Pro-Am Belts. All right, fellas, I'm going to bid you adieu. We're going to bring in the doc. We're going to bring in and basically see if we can find any chink in this Bills armor. We'll find out. All right,
Running
fellas.
game.
We'll see you in a little bit. Yeah, that's for sure. The doc is in, and we are finishing up our tour of the AFC East here in Buffalo. Doc Miller, welcome into the studio.
It's great to be here. So let's get started with Josh Allen. Here's a great statistic if you're any fantasy manager. Josh Allen is trending up in fantasy points each of his 5 seasons. That, and he hasn't missed a game since his rookie season. He told reporters over the summer that he's, quote, getting older and could run the ball less this season than in the past. All of this is very encouraging for his ongoing 2023 availability. We're going to go 20% to the bench for Josh Allen. Moving on to Stefon Diggs. So he's played 3 consecutive seasons and not missed a game. Since his rookie campaign in 2015, he's played in as many or more games each season than he did the season before. So there's a real reason that DraftSharks gives him a max 5 out of 5 durability rating. Stefon Diggs, 10% to the bench. And lastly, Dawson Knox. All 3 of you guys have him in your rankings between 16 and 20. So my question, just like it was with Hunter Henry, is he even fantasy relevant? But in his 4 seasons, he's been durable. But he's never played in every game of the season. So Dawson Knox, 75% of the bench.
Indeed. That's always the big question. Are tight ends even relevant in the fantasy in the first place? That's always a big topic of conversation. But yeah, agreed with you. All right, Doc, well, we appreciate you. Great insight for the AFC East. We'll be looking forward to seeing you next week for the NFC East.
Looking forward to it, Commissioner.
Appreciate you, sir. All right, well, it's time to bring our Bills experts into the building. We got our boy Rico from Buffalo Fanatics, Steve Falco from Front Office Pros. Ryan, I'm so sorry. I spaced out. I asked you where you were from, and then I didn't write it down. It was Syracuse something. My bad. I'm just going to let you plug it when you come in. Ryan Talbot in the building. Let's bring him in.
Our next stop on our summer tour, we visit the Wild Bills Mafia in Buffalo, New York.
The Bills experts are in. Let's first welcome in Rico from Buffalo Fanatics. Welcome into the studio, my friend.
Commissioner Cooper, what's happening, man? Happy to be back again, and I'm hoping that we're able to shed some light for you Fins fans out there that have this belief that you guys are going to try to run the East and take the top spot. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be challenging. But we're here to kind of shed some light for you guys. So happy to be back.
Well, I was not going to talk about America's team, the Miami Dolphins. We're celebrating the Buffalo Bills tonight, but I appreciate you mentioning them at least. That lets me know you're scared. All right, let's also welcome into the studio Ryan Talbot. Go ahead, my brother, and plug wherever the hell all the great places you're from. Welcome in, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Yeah, you can find me at Syracuse.com, NYUp.com, and shout the Buffalo Football Podcast.
I'm so sorry. I was like, hey, where are you from? And then I spaced out to write it down. I'm so sorry. Welcome in, my friend. We appreciate you coming in. Steve, welcome in, my friend. We appreciate you.
Hey, thank you, Commissioner Coop. Excited to be here and cool to be with Ryan Talbot. Following him for a long time with Matt Perino. So nice to be on here with you.
Awesome. Well, we're glad we can make some Buffalo connections in the building tonight. First, let's talk about last season, and we're going to start out with a little game. We're going to play a little word association game. So I'm just going to ask you, as I go over last season, to think about this 3 words or less a way you would sum up last season. Obviously, I'll give you a chance to expand on it. But let's talk about last year. 13-3, obviously with the missed game with Damar Hamlin. We could just go on and on about that craziness that went on last year. But 13-3, first in the AFC East. Unfortunately, got a loss to the Bengals in the divisional round, 27-10. Excuse me. Offensively, for the whole season, you guys were second in the league for points per game. Yards per game, you guys also were second with 397. Passing yards, 7th. Rush yards, 7th. Very consistent offense. When you take a look at, again, Nick made a little joke about the running game, but obviously that's all with Josh Allen. You guys do a great job running the football. Defensive stats, points per game, second in the league, 17.9. Yards against you were 6th with 319. Passing per game, you were 15th. And against the rush, you guys were 5th. So, again, we know what went on last season with, it was like somewhat of a, I hate to say, a collapse towards the end. It seemed like, the Miami, not for nothing, I know I'm a Dolphins fan, but we had a pretty decent shot with Skylar Thompson in that wild card game against you guys. So, again, I don't know what went on towards the end. Maybe it was the Damar Hamlin thing. A lot of pressure was put on this team, but unfortunately, they just fell short at the end. But let's go around the room. Rico, I'll start with you. 3 words or less. Sum up last year's Buffalo Bills.
You know what? I mean, I'm gonna be unfair here, and I'm gonna give you 2 sets of 3 words because that's the only thing that sits with me right now. And I'm gonna go back and quote the Lloyd Banks album, "Hunger for More." Right? There was just we didn't quite get to where we wanted to get to, and there was a hunger for more. And then the next of it was out of steam. We just were out of steam, man. There was just so much that went on last year, and we were hungry for it, but just too many things went on, and we were out of steam. So those are the 3 words, and another doubled up. I'm gonna 3-word that one up again, and that's the way we felt about it. And I'm gonna expound on it a little bit. It's just I mean, the whole league knows what happened, man. Just thing after thing after thing being displaced. The Damar Hamlin thing near the end of the season, the shooting that happened prior to. Right, that took a lot of emotion out of a lot of people. It was quite a taxing year for the Bills. So if I'm gonna pick the 3, I'm gonna say out of steam. We ran out of steam.
Yeah, and you're right. I totally forgot about that shooting because that's outside of football, of course. But of course, that affected the team nonetheless and the whole city in general. So totally hear you, Ryan. How about you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of stay on those same lines. I went with emotionally draining. The top shooting before the season, everything that happened with Kim Pagula, Dawson Knox losing his brother Luke. That's just, all off the field stuff. And then obviously on the field, this was the first year in, I don't want to say the first year that there were significant injuries under McDermott and Bean, but really they stayed very healthy the past few seasons. Last year was that first time where key players were hurt. Jordan Poyer was injured throughout the season. Von Miller went down on Thanksgiving. Josh Allen suffered the elbow injury. We know everything that happened with Damar Hamlin, and what a miraculous recovery to have him back here at OTAs and practicing with this team. But it just by the start of the year, with everything that happened off the field, everything that was happening on the field, by the end of the year, like Rico said, they ran out of steam. It's just like they had nothing left in the tank because they were so emotionally drained by everything that happened. They kept taking these hits on and off the field, and it kind of took its toll on them by the time that matchup with the Bengals took place.
John Roberts, thank you for commenting in. Yes, I know the Bills beat the Dolphins. What else is new? And yes, the Bills did have a lot of injuries. He's concurring with you, Ryan. Totally agree. Steve, how about you, my friend? What do you say?
Look, guys, I'm going to keep it simple and kind of go what Ryan was saying, but injuries. You got to think about, we lost Micah Hyde really early in the Dolphins game that we lost him on that special teams play in a blowout. Lost him. Jordan Poyer was dinged up with injuries. Tre'Davious White coming back from the ACL wasn't as strong as we had hoped. He kind of was eased in, but I don't know if he was ever fully himself. Then you've got Josh Allen with the UCL, which I think he played through it, but based on some press conferences after the season, it seemed to indicate that it was affecting him. It did affect him some. So I think that also had something to do with it. So there were a lot of injuries. Also, Von Miller, like you mentioned, Ryan, we brought him in for agency.
All right, we might have lost Steve there, but I think you're saying you brought him in with free agency. Sorry, Steve, we lost you there, but we heard brought him in free agency, and you can go from there.
Yeah, brought him in free agency to affect the postseason, and he wasn't there. So that Cincinnati Bengals offensive line was, had 3 starters lost, and we could have done something about it, but Von wasn't there to do anything about it, and the rest is history.
Yes, sir. 100% UCL injury. I've totally forgot to bring that up as well. That was also, you can definitely see that was affecting him. Josh, you're Rich. Thanks for commenting in. David Stevens also says, let's go Buffalo. John Roberts says, Damar have a headset to all of his teammates while in OTAs. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we talked about what was. Let's talk about what is. That'd be more fun, right? Marquee additions to your team this year. Damian Harris, You did re-sign Jordan Poirier. You mentioned him earlier. We got Latavius Murray also in the building. I just mentioned those things more. This is more of a fantasy relevant type marquee addition. You know, obviously you made some additions in the defense as well. You did lose some with Devin Singletary. Isaiah McKenzie is now gone as well. Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker, also off the squad as well. In the draft, did pretty decent as well. Round 1, Dalton Kincaid, tight end from Utah. Might have some 2 tight end sets possibly with Dawson Knox. Who knows? Round 2, Osiris Torrance, guard from Florida. Round 3, Dorian Williams, linebacker from Tulane. Round 5, Justin Shorter, wide receiver from Florida. Round 7, Nick Broker, guard from Ole Miss. And round 7, Alec Austin, the cornerback from Oregon State. So a decent draft, a decent offseason, but you guys pretty much stayed together, which why the hell not at 13-3? Can't say I blame you. So we'll go around. I want to hear predictions. Let's just go the opposite order. Steve, I'll start with you, my friend. Give me predictions for this year's 2023 Buffalo Bills season.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting. I want to say they're going to be around the same. Maybe I'll drop down 1 win. With the Jets getting Aaron Rodgers, I think our division is probably maybe the toughest division in football, rival with maybe the AFC West. But I think the Bills are still one of the upper echelon teams. So I'll say 12-4. Maybe they lose one other game.
All right, well, boy, that's big and bold. I like it. All right, let's go. Ryan, what do you say, my friend? Where do you think they're going to be at next year?
Yeah, I did an initial schedule prediction. I had them around 11 to 12 wins. It's a very tough schedule late in the stretch. I like the way it starts out for them. However, I think they can build some momentum up early in the year. But, you know, pre-bye, post-bye, they have some tough matchups, Kansas City and then Philadelphia, obviously. And then it just, you know, gets tougher as well for those final 4 or 5 games. So it'll be interesting to see how they end the season, if they can end strong, because they have some marquee matchups on that schedule.
Yes, they certainly do. All right, let's bring up Richard Forbes. I like this comment. He said, the blizzard, the shooting, shall I add more shit to your plate? I hear you. Absolutely. Your boy, look at your boy, Rico Pierre Kingpin. He says 17-0. Oh,
every year. Goodness. Every year, Pierre, 17.
That's my guy. That guy, I guess, right? He's that guy. And he's like, oh, my friend Craig, he's always calling me every year. This is it, man. The Dolphins year. I'm like, listen, man, I'm a Dolphins fan. I've already been up and been shot down so many times. I'm done with it. I believe it. Billy Williams brings up the Cook brothers in the backfield, hoping Dalvin Cook comes home, comes to you guys, comes with his brother. David Reed, 12-5 on paper, but our roster looks better. And we got John Roberts one more time. I heard Terrell played well in OTAs. All right. Well, we got a little serious talk. We talked about last year. We did a little predicting. Let's have a little fun now and test your Bills knowledge. So right now I got some uneven teams. I'm going to bring in one of my guys from the back. Actually, this is like, I'm trying to look and see who's available. Jordan, I can see you're ready. I'm going to even this up a little bit and bring you in. So if he can hear me. Jordan, I'm going to bring you in so we can even this game up, because it's more fun when we got even teams. So I'm going to go Jordan and Rico on one side, and we're going to go Steve and Ryan on the other. This is basically it's this fantasy quiz show, runs just like Family Feud, essentially, where I'm going to put you head to head. Whoever gets the win for their team, you guys will go and you get 3 strikes. Blah, blah. The other guy gets a chance to steal if you get 3 strikes. This is all based on Bills trivia, so I hope you got your fan card, because it might be in my pocket in a second. Let's go, Fantasy Quiz Show. Let's get it on.
There seems to be no sign of intelligence.
It's the Fantasy Quiz Show.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. It's going to be a long game.
Not going to be a long game tonight, because we got Bills experts in the building. Well, and Jordan.
And me.
Let's
good luck, Rico.
I got Rico, but I figure Rico, Rico's been on the show a few times. He kind of knows the deal. So, I figured he'd be good with Jordan as a teammate. It'll be all right. All right, let's start it out. Mano y mano. Let's go Rico and Ryan, round 1. Here we go. Top 5 answers are on the board. Here is the question. I'm looking all time, and I'm looking quarterbacks for the most thrown TDs all time.
You're going to say Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly, yeah.
Jim Kelly.
Come on. Come on, Commissioner.
Now, do we go back and forth? You tell us.
I gotta ease you in, but you have won it for your side, so you and Jordan do take this. You got the rest of this round. Jordan, I'm gonna go to you next. I can't wait to hear your answer. Give me top 5 QBs in Buffalo history with the most thrown TD passes.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen of all time already?
Right.
Commission's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's there. You're muted, Commission. You're muted.
My bad. My video, I think, got caught up. Yeah, so Josh Allen, believe it or not, he is number 3 all time on the Bills list for QB TDs thrown. All right, Rico, you're up next. Who you got?
Give me Ryan Fitzy. Is Ryan Fitzy on the list? Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Is that a little Fitzy magic?
Fitz magic.
You're really hurting us on that, Rico. That was the only one I had left in the tank right there. Like,
we got you,
Fitzy Magic was number 4, by the way, on this list with 80. All right, you're missing number 2 and number 5, man. And I'll give you $1,000, Jordan, if you can get either one.
Rob
without
Johnson.
Googling.
Rob Johnson.
Rob Johnson. All right, Rico, you're up.
Oh boy. Give me Ferg. Joe Fergs.
Joe Ferguson.
Man, a lot of pressure. I'm really screwing this
He's
up.
just
for
top of the
Rico.
dome.
I know, bro. Joe Ferguson, number 2 on this list, 181. All right, you're missing number 5, Jordan. Can you snag it for your team?
I only know the bad quarterbacks of Buffalo. EJ Manuel. I don't know.
Number
All right,
5.
Rico, can you pull this out?
Oh my gosh, number 5 on the list. I'm trying to think right now. Number 5 on the list. Golly.
No pressure.
I'm gonna just throw this one out there. Yo, Kemp.
Jack Kemp.
There it is.
Rico sweeps the round. Good snag there. Jack Kemp, number 5 with 77. Unreal. Great job with that one. All right, let's go up. It's Jordan versus Steve. And Jordan, no pressure on you at all, sir. No pressure. We get it. You're not quite the Bills fan, but let's see if you can step up. Top 5 answers on the board. Here is your question. Again, I'm looking all time, but I'm looking for rush yard leaders.
Thurman Thomas.
Thurman Berman Thomas. My internet must be slow. It takes a minute for my little check mark going. He's number 1 on the list. Sorry about that. Number 1 on the list with 11,938. So you again, Jordan and Rico, get control. Rico, you're up. Who's your next guy?
I think McCoy made it on the list for one of the top guys.
For Shady McCoy.
Shady McCoy.
I got one more in me in this round.
I could have just went the easy route, but I went the hard route. Go ahead, Jordan.
OJ Simpson. Rico's laying him up for me. I love it. OJ Simpson.
He was trying to help his partner out.
So you got OJ?
OJ Simpson on the list is number 2, 10,183. All right, you got 3, 4, and 5 left. Rico, what you got?
Let's see the big backs in the squad. So you got Thurman, we got OJ, Freddie J on there.
Freddie
Jackson. There you go. So Freddie J's there.
Freddie J is on the list. He's number 3, 5,646. Jordan, you got number 4 or 5?
CJ Spiller.
Good Lord.
Spiller, that was okay.
Let's see. I'm trying to. So we got Freddie on that list. Freddie was number 4.
Freddie was number 3. So you're
Freddie
missing
was
4 and 5.
So it was Thurman, OJ, Freddie. Can we go? Not Willis. Willis didn't do enough for us. Travis was okay. Travis, and you said Shady was on the list. Golly, man. I'm gonna just throw this out there. Yo, is Cookie on there?
Who?
Cookie, baby,
Cookie. Who's Cookie?
If you don't
put on Cookie Gilchrist, is what
I don't think Cookie's on there. Go guess again, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, with pleasure.
Stop it. Get some help.
No Cookie on this list. All right, so Steve and Ryan, you guys can talk amongst yourselves, can come with a concise answer. Do you have either 4 or 5 to steal this round?
I think Rico actually said one of them in Travis Henry. But I know Joe Cribbs was here for a long time, and I think I'd feel better about Joe Cribbs personally.
Okay,
Right,
I was thinking Willis McGahee or Marshawn Lynch, and I didn't feel very good about either one of those. So
long enough.
I'm feeling good about Cribbs.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll trust you, Ryan. I'll trust you.
All right.
So I'm going to say this. Ryan is just showing off because he actually nailed them both.
Henry was dominant for a few seasons in Buffalo.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Travis Henry's
big
true.
and nasty. Joe Cribbs was number 4, 4,445. Travis Henry, number 5, 3,849. All right, 1-1. Let's go, Rico. I hope you're ready. Let's go, Ryan. We got some big questions now for you. This is really going to test that Bills knowledge. I'm looking all-time winning percentage, right, against other franchises. I want to know top 5 answers on the board. Oof. Who do you have the best winning percentage against?
Oh boy, who's up? Is it me? Am I up?
I mean, it can either one, but yeah,
I'm. Boom.
This is tough because, like, all-time winning percentage. Obviously, they were miserable against the Dolphins. I mean, I'm not even going to think Dolphins or any of these divisional teams.
Neither did I. I was going to say Raiders. Maybe the Raiders. If we do well against the Raiders.
What was your guess? The Raiders?
I'll go with a bizarre choice. I'll go with like does it matter how many matchups they've had against the teams?
Does not matter.
I don't know. Seattle.
The Seattle.
Is there hints? Can we go NFC, AFC? Are you able to give that up or no?
No hints. No hints.
All right.
This is not.
Oh, how about Cincinnati Bengals?
Let me. Actually, I had to go on the other page. The Cincinnati Bengals
wins against them at one point.
All right. So now, no Cincy, not the Raiders.
The Houston Texans.
Houston. Jordan thinks he's been watching these shows. He thinks he knows, but you're wrong.
Sucked for a long time.
I mean, I didn't know if I could guess, so I was on the sidelines here. I'm actually thinking. I'm thinking either the Jets or the Browns. Actually, Browns was the team I was thinking of. I think we beat the Browns quite a bit.
The Cleveland Browns.
Wow.
It's got to be AFC.
This is going to get to that. This is where we get to the overtime rules. So basically, whichever one of you guess it first, the other team then will get one chance to get higher than what the other guy does. So Rico, we'll go up to you. I believe you're next.
All right. Give me golly, man. Dude, like, give me the Chargers, man. Those against the Chargers.
The Super Chargers?
A wild ass guess.
All
Maybe
right,
we stay
Brian.
in division. I know they were miserable against the Dolphins throughout the 70s and 80s. They were miserable against the Patriots throughout the whole Tom Brady dynasty. Let's go with the last remaining team, the Jets.
The Jets suck.
Damn, not the Jets. All right. Who the hell?
Jordan, go ahead.
The Jaguars.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
At this point, we're going to run out of teams here.
I've been thinking about it. I think I might got it. I think it's going to be the Washington Commanders or
The
Redskins.
Washington Commanders.
There we go on the board.
On the board.
Washington Commanders is the number 2 team. So Jordan and Rico, you'll get a chance to steal this, but you have to tell me the number 1 team overall that you have the best winning percentage. By the way, Commanders, you guys are 10-5 all time against the Commanders, but there's one that's even better. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. This is like a steal one.
I mean, can't be. I don't know. It's not Pittsburgh. It's got been solid. I have a feeling it's in the NFC. So if it's in the NFC, I'm gonna say it's a shot in the dark. The Minnesota freaking Vikings.
The new man on the Minnesota Vikings.
Deserve that one.
That's my favorite one.
Not on the board there, but okay. So number 1 overall, the Carolina Panthers. You're 6-2 all time, and number 3, the Packers, 9-5. You're actually tied with the Rams. You're actually 9-5 against the Rams as well. And number 5 on this list, the Detroit Lions, 7-4-1. All right, we're going now. We're going to go now back to Jordan and Steve for round number, number 3. And up right now, Ryan and Steve are up 2-1 right now. So if they take this, it's over. Well, here we go. Top 5 answers on the board. Let's stay with that winning percentage. Let's go opposite end. Let's talk about the teams you have the worst winning percentage against.
The New England Patriots.
I heard Steve first, but I didn't hear what you said. What was your team?
I said Patriots.
Oh, okay, got you. The New England Patriots.
That's a no-brainer, that one.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan, you answered with the same thing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I just thought that's what you said. I just wanted to make sure. All right. So Steve and Ryan, you guys control. By the way, the Patriots are number 4 on this list all time, 48, 76, and 1. All right. You are up, my friend. What else you got?
For me or Ryan first?
It's Ryan's up since you you got
I'll
it.
go with I was going with the Dolphins earlier when I was saying how miserable they were for a stretch. So I'll go Dolphins.
America's team, the Miami Dolphins.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't think that was gonna. Okay.
I'm thinking. I don't know, Ryan. I know we can't talk about it, but maybe you can give me no. Well, I guess we can't cross-board either. But I'm thinking the Steelers. They always seem to beat us. I can't stand them, so I feel like Steelers.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Boy, now
There's
we're
a
up
lot of
against
meat
it
on
here.
this bone, Ryan. So we gotta try to get a nibble something off. Right now, you guys got the Patriots at number 4, but you got 1, 2, 3, and number 5.
How about I'm going to go to the NFC East as well. How about the Dallas Cowboys? I'm just taking a shot in the dark here.
The Dallas Cowboys.
You idiot.
Rico and JT, can you steal it to stay alive? There's number 1, 2, 3, and number 5.
Kansas City.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Why?
Damn.
Unfortunately, not for you, my friend. So here is your list here. So you mentioned the Chargers for the winning. Should have mentioned it for the losing. They are number 1 against you all time. 11, 24, and 2 is your record against the Chargers. Number 2 is the Bucks. They are 4. You're 4 and 8 against the Bucks. The Titans come in at number 3, 18 and 29. Patriots, I mentioned, were number 4. Vikings were number 5, and they actually were tied with the Ravens. You both got a 400 winning percentage, 6 and 9 against the Vikings, and 4 and 6 against the Ravens. Listen, that was a fun game, though. You guys brought it down to the stretch, but looks like Ryan and Steve, you are tonight's winners.
Holy hallelujah, we've done it.
Congrats, Ryan. We did
Yeah,
it.
that was fun.
Good job,
I
guys.
mean,
Congratulations. You guys know your stuff, but unfortunately, and Enrico, I might have handicapped you
Sorry,
tonight,
Enrico.
unfortunately. I mean, I definitely did. I picked the wrong guy in the back. Unfortunately, Nick was a little busy. But you know what? Unfortunately, though, you know the deal on this show. When you don't win, you lose.
Dumbass. Dang these. They call me dumbass. Black Kite Entertainment. Stupid.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Great game tonight. Got to love it. Like I said, nonetheless, after this, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to go on to our fantasy focus for the Buffalo Bills. You guys are welcome to stay and chop it up with us. But before we head out, and you guys can head out as well when the commercial comes, but I at least want to give the time to plug where you guys are from and all this great stuff. Rico, we'll start with you. Where can everyone follow, subscribe, and get all your great content?
For sure, man. I appreciate Kamish having me on. You guys can follow us all social media platforms, Buffalo Fanatics. If you want to follow me personally, it's Rico_BF_. Hit me up on Twitter. Let's have a good time, man. Thanks for having me. And I might stick around for a little bit of fantasy talk, and then I'll dip out.
Nice. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, Ryan, how about you, my friend? Where can we subscribe and get all your great content?
Yeah, first, thanks for having me on tonight, Kamish. You can find me on Twitter at Ryan Talbot Bills. You can find my work at Syracuse.com and NYUp.com. And you can find Shout, the Buffalo Football Podcast, on all your major podcast platforms. And also we stream live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook.
All right, well, if you like the Buffalo Bills, I don't really know why. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, if you love the Buffalo Bills and circle those wagons, go get on Ryan's stuff. All this great content. Please go follow and subscribe. Steve, how about you, my friend? Where can you follow, subscribe, get all your great content?
Yeah. So you can follow me on Twitter at Steve_FOP. I am a co-founder of Front Office Pros. So you can follow us there on Twitter, also on YouTube. We do a few weekly episodes with my other counterpart, Joe. So you can follow us subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we're also on Apple and Spotify podcasts. So we've got some great stuff in the works coming up here this next season. So go ahead and check us out.
Awesome. And for those in the comments, I know you guys, there's a bunch of comments in there, and I want to get to them. I'm so sorry, but it was hard to get all that going and get to your comments. So we will bring them up. Thank you so much for doing that. And guys, thank you so much for your time. If you are hanging out, that's awesome. I appreciate you. We'll see you on the other end. If not, I appreciate you coming in, and we'll see you hopefully some other time later this season. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Underdog Fantasy is here to save your post-fantasy football season blues. The easiest place to play and win with the Underdog Fantasy app. Get up to 20 times your money in a single night with our Pick'em contests. Grab some insurance when setting your picks and win even when one pick fails. Go online now and use the promo code TSS to double your deposit up to $100. Sit Gingerbread, good girl.
I had to sit Gingerbread inside the other night. She was out here barking, going crazy. So no Gingy tonight. All right, well, we got all the fellas in. I love it. All right, let's get to the fantasy focus. So in Buffalo, we obviously want to start with the QB position, but I don't really need to go into much, do I? This is like pretty much the no-brainer in any fantasy league, in any type of format. You go draft Josh Allen, pretty much, period, point blank. He's been number one the 2020 season, the 2021 season, and guess what he was last year? Number 2. I mean, he's the man, he's the myth, the legend for fantasy. I could sit here and give you all the analytics, but I got a lot of people here that are going to give that to you. I'm just here to tell you, draft Josh Allen, period, point blank. Justin, you guys are in the back. Let's start with you. Tell me about Josh Allen, where you got him. And by the way, I got him number 3 this year.
Numero uno. 3 times in the last 4 years. Let's freaking go. I think it's a no-brainer here. Like you said, and he's got to play MVP ball. And when you got to play MVP ball, ask Jalen Hurts what happened last year. He went through the moon. There's not much to it. He's still got Diggs. He's got Dalton Kincaid now, who's like another big threat. I think he's going to come on later in the year. And then, I think James Cook, we're going to finally see what this guy looks like in the passing game. I'm kind of really excited for that.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to, especially to start out, maybe him as the lone wolf in the offense, but we'll see how all that plays out. Nick, how about you, my friend? How do you feel about Josh Allen? And you're on mute, just to give you a heads up prior. All right, we'll go to JT since he's ready. JT, talk to me about Josh Allen, where you got him at.
Man, there's not a whole lot to say that you guys haven't. I've got him at 2. I mean, if you have him outside of your top 3, you're probably doing something wrong. The thing I love most about Josh Allen is just not only is he great, he's consistently great. And I think it was 12 out of 16 weeks last season, he finished as a top 6 quarterback. So even with his greatness, you also don't have to worry about those bad games or those low games. He comes with it every single week.
100%. Nick, how about you, my friend?
Yes. Yes to everything. I have him at number 3. Everyone's got a pothole game every once in a while, but he bounces back. So again, he had 267 yards average last season, 35 TDs. What are you going to complain about that? So, but I did like the fact that he says he wants to run less, so that's going to save him hopefully. But again, it's Buffalo. They only believe in one man running the ball, and your name has to be Josh Allen.
All right, so for the Bills Mafia guy who just commented, listen, the Bills hater thing is just fun. I'm a Dolphins fan. I had Jets haters on. I had Patriots haters on. Relax, it's okay. And now you guys sit here and talk trash about Tua and gang signs. Like, come on, bro. All right, let's go, Rico. Where you got Josh Allen at? You drafted him?
Heck yeah, I'm drafting him. Number 1, there's no questions about it. He will pass the ball. He'll run the ball. You need him to punt the ball. He'll punt the ball too. He's that guy. So and I have no bones about grabbing a quarterback in the first round. Some people like to go the RB route. He is your RB. He is your quarterback. You grab him. You don't even think about it. If it's number one pick, take him. You're set, and you have a chance to make it to the top. Go ahead and take him. Don't even think about it.
100%, absolutely. Like I said, any format all day. This is a no-brainer. Ryan, how about you, sir?
Yeah, number one. Listen, I know he says he wants to run less, but those rushing yards are a valuable commodity in fantasy as well. And when he's been injured, the few times he's been injured in his NFL career, it hasn't been him running the ball. It's been when he's been in the pocket and it's collapsed around him. He's been hitting the arm and he's suffered those injuries. So he is pretty good about it when he runs the ball. I know he takes on some unnecessary hits. He's hurdling guys, but I think he can still run the ball if he can just be smarter about it. He won't have to worry necessarily about those injuries. The passing game, you mentioned it. He still has Diggs. Gabe Davis's expectations were just unrealistic last year, but I think he's going to be a solid contributor. Dalton is a quasi-slot receiver for this team, Knox, and then Deontay Hardy too. It gives him a lot of guys that I think that he can really spread the ball around with, and then as one of the others mentioned, they have some backs that can catch the ball too. So for all those reasons, I like Allen as the number one quarterback in this year's fantasy football drafts.
100%. And in fact, it's ironic you brought him up getting injured in the pocket. Dr. Miller, who was on earlier, mentioned that, in fact, last season that there was a case study about it's actually the quarterbacks get injured more in the pocket than they do when they are running the football. So that's a perfect point to bring up regarding his injury history. Steve, how about you, my friend? Where you got him?
Yeah, I mean, he's one or two, it's between him and Patrick Mahomes. I will say the few concerns I may have with Josh Allen is, does he run less? I think he's just got the game, he gets caught up into the game. So I think he's going to run, even if he's told not to run, and he's still going to run. So I feel like that could happen, but now you have Damian Harris. Damian Harris is a different type of running back. The Bills have not had someone like him. So will they have more designed runs with Damian Harris or Latavius Murray? I guess. I mean, they both were brought in pretty cheap. They kind of do a similar thing. The other thing is, I don't know about the other Bills guys here, but my confidence level in Ken Dorsey is not the highest. I think part of that kind of middle stretch there when he was having some red zone issues and a lot of turnovers, I think a part of the reason why that was because of how Ken Dorsey set up the offense. I have hope. With Kincaid and Knox, I think that 12 personnel, I think, is going to cause problems for other teams. So that's why I think it'll be okay. But there are some concerns, and then you always got the Madden curse. So now he's on, which is pretty cool. He's on the cover of Madden. Never thought I'd see the day a Bills player be on the cover of Madden, but is it real? Is it not? We'll find out.
And indeed, hopefully not for you guys.
Yeah, no, we don't want to be real.
But yeah, Josh Allen, like I said, this is a no-brainer. Any type of format that you're in, he's the guy you go after all day long. Consistent as they come. That's what you want. Something I always preach when we bring up fantasy is consistency. No other more consistent guy than Josh Allen. Let's bring up the running backs now. We'll go to the running back position. You brought up James Cook. Didn't impress to me last year when he was kind of like he got into the focal point for a little bit. He had some flashes, and he had spurts of what they call explosiveness plays. Plays. I don't know how that came about, but anyway, as I was reading it, he was actually number 2 in the league with explosiveness plays. So again, now being the focal point. Could he turn out to be the big dog in Buffalo? We'll see if he can take that kind of workload as well. I got him right now about 36. I just don't know the situation. Damian Harris, I brought him up when we did our Back to Business show. To me, he's a deep sleeper. Damian Harris, if you're a Buffalo fan, the AFC East, Damian Harris has had those games and has that time where he can get into a nice rhythm as a running back. So if you guys start to get in that type of downhill running game where you guys are up, where you're up 20, 30 points, which is very possible, Damian Harris could be a big guy for you in fantasy. So I'm kind of up in the air, to be honest, with the Bills running backs. I think Damian Harris could be a late sleeper, but I'm just not really buying into any of them. Maybe some flex options really for both of them if Damian Harris really is lucky. But I like James Cook as a definite flex and PPR. I'll shut up now, Nick. How about you?
Yeah, before I start on that, Ryan, you need to enter a JJ Watt lookalike contest because you look like JJ Watt. So anyway, moving on. Yeah, James Cook. This backfield is tricky because last year, obviously, it was James Cook's running rookie year. I have him at 31. He had 502 yards and two TDs. But the wild card is always going to be Latavius Murray. Now they got three guys in the backfield. Is it going to be a 33% split? My projection would be in the beginning, it's going to be Harris is going to be the lead back because last season he only played 11 games. He did have 462 yards, but his best season when he played 15 games was 2 years ago. He had 15 TDs and 929 yards. So I think they're going to let him get the ball first. And then Latavius is going to come in. He's going to do some spot duty. And then once one of them goes down, that's when he's going to really come in and then does his thing. I have Cook at 31 and Harris at 37. And right now I don't even have Murray ranked.
Justin, how about you, my friend?
I'm so sick and tired of hearing Latavius Murray. He just fucks everything up. Whenever he goes somewhere, it's almost dooming whoever the RB1 is. Like last year was J.K. Dobbins. Like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, whatever. And then he goes to Denver, and then Javonte Williams gets it. So I hope that Iggy, we're talking about the Madden curse. How about the Latavius Murray curse? I hope that doesn't happen here. James Cook, I have him at 24. I think we're in for a big season from him. I think this is the type of guy that they've been kind of wanting in that offense. It's another receiver. It's if you watch his tape, it's just freaking he pops a lot. And you're just like, and you were talking about the explosive plays. Like he is explosive plays incarnate, man. He's not as big as Dalvin is, but he's faster. He's got better hands. He can get to the outside. He can play kind of like a slot receiver type of role. And I got Damian Harris at 38. I think that's mostly because he'll be in like kind of like that Zeke, Fournette type of role where he'll get like the touches that they want to make sure that the guy doesn't fumble it on, you know, the goal line touches. I picture this year the Bills cutting back Josh Allen's touches on the goal line unless, you know, Damian Harris or Latavius Murray find a fumbling problem. Because I think that's where they want to preserve him the most. They don't want him to take the big hits from the big D tackles or the big defensive ends. They kind of want to keep him upright when it comes to that. So that's why you go out, you get yourself a guy who had 15 touchdowns 2 years ago. You go out, you get a guy like Latavius Murray who's been on his last leg for the last 8 years. And then you supplement that with James Cook on the outside, an easy target for him to throw to and go get himself some yards.
So, Justin, right on point. Before I move on to Jordan, I just want to say, Nick, for making our guest feel uncomfortable and comparing him to J.J. Watt.
I think you were the one that felt uncomfortable. I don't think I made him feel uncomfortable at all. I think it's a you problem, Jason. That's a you problem.
I could see it was a little uncomfortable. Jordan, how about you, friend? Where do you think these running backs are?
Fantasy Jesus is preaching the gospel right now. You guys are way too low on this kid. James Cook, I have him right below Justin. I have him at 25. I am all about him, and he's the kind of guy that I'm going to be targeting in a lot of drafts. I'm never the guy that's going running back at the top of my draft. I'm always looking for these types of running backs who are going to have every opportunity to blow up and take the bulk share of the backfield touches. As far as Harris goes, listen, I've been riding the Zeke train for a couple of years as a Cowboys fan. It's miserable. He's in a RB40 and after range for me. I want no part of him. I'm sure he's going to have some 3 touchdown games. I'm not going to start him the week he does. So for me, I'm all about James Cook, and I want no part of Damian Harris.
I feel you. All right, Ryan, we'll start with you on this one. What do you think of the running backs?
Yeah, I don't have a specific number for Cook, but I have him as a low end number 2 starting out in the year in terms of where you could probably get him in. He has upside though to be a high end number 2, maybe even a very low end number 1. Explosive plays are there, the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. Damian Harris, the durability, the ability to stay on the field, it's been an issue a little bit in his tenure with New England. So that also leads me to believe that Cook's going to get more opportunities throughout the year if that trend continues here in Buffalo. And then the biggest reason why I'm really high on James Cook and his potential ability to be a fantasy sleeper this year is the improvement on the offensive line for the Bills. First of all, it's Aaron Kromer's second year. So the guys that were here are in year 2 of his system. That should benefit them significantly. You go out, you get O'Cyrus Torrence in round 2. This guy's a mauler on the inside. Someone's going to help you in your run game. Connor McGovern from Dallas comes in. Now, again, I think he's better as a pass blocker, but that's more competition. Edwards, who played under Kromer, just 3 guys right there that you've improved the interior of your line. You still have Ryan Bates. Mitch Morse has been the model of stability. I think Deion Dawkins bounces back from somewhat of a down year at left tackle. The only question mark on the line to me is at right tackle. And they even went out and they added Brandon Shell to kind of be that swing tackle to kind of maybe give Spencer Brown a little bit of competition at camp in this summer. But I do like the improvements, especially on the interior. So I think that could really open things up for James Cook.
I like it. Rico, what say you?
You know what? I'm really not as high as everybody is on James Cook. I mean, I like him. He's your change of pace back, but at 5'11", $190, when it comes into those winter months, October, November, this is where you lean on your heavier backs, and this is why they brought in a guy like Zach from like got traded to the Colts. When we had Zach on our squad, that was the guy that we wanted to get the touches. He was actually competing with Devin Singletary to get those touches, and he just wasn't panning out. So we finally found the guy, in my opinion, that can get the job done. Now, you guys want to talk about injuries, but Buffalo's medical staff is legit. I mean, Brock Purdy nearly ripped his arm off, and he's out of the game. Josh Allen suffers the same injury. Get in the medical room, fix you up, and he plays the whole season. So to me, this injury bug situation with Damian Harris, I don't think it's going to be a factor. And here's my bold take. I think Damian Harris becomes a lead back by week 3, week 4. I think they start leaning on him. From what I'm hearing in camp, he's looking strong. This is coming from Deion Dawkins, talking to Deion Dawkins. Listen, he's looking strong. He's looking very quick, and look to see a lot more of 1-2 punch with those two. But I think Harris takes over. So fantasy, I think he's the sleeper. Don't sleep on Harris. He's the one guy that you want to have as your flex, maybe RB2. James Cook is in that. I know you guys are talking numbers wise. I'm looking at my fantasy list. He's honestly, I have him at 33, between 33 and 39. James Cook is just he's hit and miss, but we'll see. The jury's out. But I love what Ryan said. We bolstered up the old line. I'm a little questionable on the right tackle position, but bringing in Brandon Shell does make a difference to see if my guy Spencer Brown can hold up. It'll be great because he's a mauler himself. He's going to be healthier this year, and bringing in O'Cyrus Torrence, that's huge. But Harris, I think, is going to have a massive year. It's a bounce back year. He didn't come to Buffalo be a running back number 2. He's coming for that number 1 spot. I think he's going to be a sleeper pick. Jump on that Harris pick. Just wait on it. It'll be a nice pick for you guys.
110%. That's exactly what I've been thinking this whole time. Got to go with old reliable. Talked about Hunter Henry last night being old reliable. Damian Harris, old reliable running back for sure. Steve, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm a Bills fan, but I got to be objective here, guys. I'm low on both of these guys. Here's the thing: when it comes to running backs, especially in fantasy, it's all about the volume. So can we assure that they're going to get a certain amount of carries and a certain amount of targets? I'm with JT when it comes to Damian Harris. He might have a 3-touchdown game, but it's going to be so wild as to when it actually happens. I don't know when it's going to happen. So you're not going to be able to start him week in and week out because you could lose your matchup because he's not involved in the game plan at all. Or he could be if it's a best ball league, then roster him in the back half of your lineup. Best ball makes a little bit more sense, but not if no best ball. Then I don't think it makes sense. And then when it comes to Cook, I think a PPR league really matters. I mean, when it comes to James Cook, he's not going to get a lot of carries. I have to. I'm not sure off the top of my head But I would say I don't even know if he eclipsed over 15 carries in a game last year. So if he's not going to get the volume as regards to carries, is he going to get it in targets? So your hope would be that maybe Kincaid isn't as good, and we don't have Cole Beasley there, and he was involved in late. So we don't really have a third receiver. So is James Cook used a lot in the third down passing games to get a ton of targets? I think that's where your hopes are for him. I would say he's a low-end RB2, possible flex play. We'll be releasing my rankings and projections here shortly. I don't have the specific number, but I'll say that I think he's RB2 flex range for me.
Nice. All right. I like it. Let's go to the receivers. Obviously, Stephon Diggs, enough said, don't need to go a long time about that. Diggs, last 3 seasons, he's had at least 100 receptions, 1,225 yards, and 8 touchdowns. No brainer there. You go out and grab Diggs. Gabe Davis is the anomaly here. He's a big play guy. Last year, those big plays were kind of few and far between. He's had a few flashes down the stretch, but unfortunately didn't turn out to be an amazing season for him as he ended up being the wide receiver 36 overall. But Josh Allen's deep threat, you can expect, again, that UCL injury, we talked about that earlier, might have played a factor in Gabe Davis making those big plays. So with a healthy Josh Allen, I think Gabe Davis bounced back this year. I think you're going to see an uptick for him. There's a couple other guys, Khalil Shakir as well could step up with the absence of Isaiah McKenzie. But I'll be honest with you, at this point, I'm just got like a 1-2 punch, and that's all I got. So I'm going to let my Bills experts help us with the other 3. But let's go to Jordan first. What do you say, my friend? Where do you got these guys?
Man, kind of the same thing as you, Stephon Diggs. I think he's wide receiver 3 going into the season. I can see if you have him at 4 or 5, but he's definitely in that range. He's locked in. He's a bona fide stud number 1. I actually am a little bit higher on Gabe Davis. I do expect a little bit of an uptick, and I've got him at wide receiver 30, so it's not like I've got him way up the list, but the difference between Gabe Davis and Damian Harris is right. Gabe Davis is also going to have those huge, ridiculous games. There's a chance I have Gabe Davis starting at wide receiver 3 or flex in a pinch. I will never start Damian Harris. I will start Gabe Davis when I need him.
Goes back to the running, but I had to plug that one last time. Justin, how about you?
So Gabe Davis surprisingly finished wide receiver 24 last year. He just wasn't the hype that everybody predicted he would be after scoring 4 touchdowns in a playoff game. Everybody kind of went bonkers after that shit. So I'm not one of the guys that went bonkers on that one. I got him at wide receiver 36, right in that spot for a wide receiver 3. You got to think that Dalton Kincaid's in there for a reason. They drafted him high and while still having Dawson Knox on a new contract. So you got to figure he's going to be worked in to the receiving game quite a bit. And then Khalil Shakir is a guy to also look at. They had some interest it looks like they have interest in developing him. It looks like they were trying to get him mixed in the lineup last year, but Isaiah McKenzie was either too good or he was just still too raw. I couldn't really figure that one out. I don't think McKenzie was too good, so I'm just going to go with he was just still a little too raw as a route runner. But as far as everybody else goes, McKenzie or Shakir for me is like 87. I'll throw a dart at him, but I don't have too much faith in it. And then Diggs is my 7.
Nice. Nick, how about you?
I have Diggs at 6. I mean, that's one of the best stacks in fantasy that you can pick up, especially if you got the 11, 12 pick. Just pick them up, 1, 2, boom, right there, you're set. As far as Gabe Davis goes, he's a local boy down here. He's actually from Sanford, which is right outside Orlando, so he's pretty popular around here. He's a wild card because you really don't know which games he's going to show up in, as the Buffalo boys can attest to. Now, he did have 836 yards last season with 7 touchdowns. However, when it seemed like they needed him most, and especially whenever fantasy managers needed him most, he just kind of fell on his face. So I'd be leery about picking him up. I have him ranked at 45, and they kind of wanted to, like Justin said, they wanted to bring Shakir along, but McKenzie was there, kind of mucking up the works. So I don't really know who's going to be their third receiver. It could be Dawson Knox as a possession receiver. We just got to see what Ken Dorsey's gonna cook up for that offensive play plan.
Well, we'll segue into tight ends here in a second, and I will say when fantasy managers needed him the most, kind of correlates with that UCL injury, like I mentioned earlier. So I think all of that plays a factor. Steve, how about you, friend? What do you think?
Yeah, so it's interesting. When it comes to Isaiah McKenzie, right, he had 65 targets last year. So those are vacated. Who are those 65 targets going to? Well, I'll talk about it for the next position group. But as far as the other receivers, the one thing about Gabe Davis is he's in a contract year. And when it comes to a contract year, players tend to ball out because they're looking to make big money. So I could see it kind of being a possible buy low. I think he was a major disappointment, like Justin was saying. After that Kansas City Chiefs playoff game, people were buying high on him. I remember people were going nuts on Twitter about, he's going to be that guy. And it was a huge disappointment outside the Pittsburgh Steelers game last year. So I would say that I think Gabe, I would be interested in buying him because I think the perception of him is really low. I think he could be a receiver 2. More than likely, he'll at least be a receiver 3 for you. Diggs, I don't really have much to say. I think, he's a model of consistency. He'll continue to do that. Shakir is the interesting one. This is where I'm trying to figure it out. Is those targets that are vacated, are they going to go to Shakir? Are they going to go to James Cook? Or are they going to go to one of the tight ends? Or maybe wild card Deontay Hardy. I kind of doubt it. I think he's more there to do special teams, kick return, punt return. I don't even know if he'll get that many snaps on offense. But that's my take on the receivers.
Nice. All right, Rico, how about you, friend?
Well, it's tricky, and I'm going to be very curious to see how Ryan feels about the receiver room. But listen, fantasy wise, Stephon Diggs is your top 5. Maybe top 6, however you want to look at that. I mean, I think we all know that. But if you're looking at receivers for the Bills, it's very tough, especially going into this year. Because, yes, the ball was spread around. Isaiah McKenzie got quite a few balls thrown his way. Dawson Knox as well. And Gabe Davis had a statistical year. He had his best year. A lot of people want to talk down on Gabe Davis and of his inconsistencies. It's crazy because you look at some games that you really wanted to really get that production out of Gabe Davis and nothing. But then you look at it, he had a pretty good year for himself. But it's fantasy. And you need your guy to be consistently there. So he's more of your number 3 type receiver. I'm not trusting him quite yet, but he's like my man Steve said, he's in a statistical year. So he's a contract year. So he's going to try to get as much involved in this as possible now with the absence of obviously Isaiah McKenzie. There's 60 plus receptions that's got to go somewhere, right? Attempts that's got to go somewhere. Now enter Khalil Shakir. When Khalil Shakir did get in the game, production. You got something from it. Now, his drop rates, it's 50. He's 50-50 guy, but I think he's much better. I think he's going to definitely eat into that. And when he has his opportunities, he's active, right? He had one game, I think week 3. I think it was a week 3 or week 4 game, 5 receptions for 75 yards, touchdown, right? So that's the type of production. Now, if you know your guys, which I started him because I knew he was getting some touches, he's production. And the big thing with Allen is if he trusts you, he's going to you, and there's a bit of trust. There's trust there between him and with Khalil Shakir. Now, I know this ties in because Dalton Kincaid is a weapon X. He's going to be in the slot. He's going to be tight end, but he's a tight end, so we're not going to touch on that right now. So we're touching receiver. Now, nobody's really talking about Sherfield. I think Sherfield might kind of steal some reps in there, man. And you Dolphins guys know Sherfield. You guys kind of miss him that he left, and you kind of don't like the fact that he went to Buffalo, but maybe he kind of ties in and gets some things going. Deontay Hardy's going to get in there. So those 65 receptions that were vacated by my guy McKenzie, it's probably going to be spread out. But majority of those touches are going to go to Kincaid. So look for your 1-2 punch is going to be Gabe and my guy Stephon Diggs. And I think the edge and this is going to be Khalil Shakir. So don't sleep on Khalil Shakir. Khalil Shakir, he's like your 50 in your 50 range. But if he's available, grab him and stash him because he's gonna get you some points.
Justin loves him from Sherfield, so don't get it twisted. And in the comments, a lot of the fans like just Shorter as well a lot. So mentioning that. Ryan, how about you, my friend? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the only one I'm trying to go out and get in fantasy leagues is Stephon Diggs, obviously. If you can get Gabe Davis as a wide receiver 3, I'd be really happy with that. Everyone's mentioned the output from last season didn't match the expectations, but it was still a solid stat line. The hands are an issue, the drops are an issue, but he also dealt with a lingering ankle issue throughout the year, too, that I think hampered his play and limited him at times in terms of what he could do cutting, route running wise, where I think that could benefit him this year coming in healthy. He's sneaky in terms of being that field stretcher, getting down the field and creating that separation. But if you can get him as your wide receiver 3, all about it. As for the other guys, Khalil Shakir, I'm a big fan of his game. I liked it when they drafted him last year. Did a lot of offseason work with former Bills receiver Eric Moulds this offseason. So interested to see how that pays off for him. Moulds was great in Buffalo at a time many, many years ago. So will that help? I always do like to look for that year 1 to year 2 leap where these guys know what they need to do to their bodies in terms of that they didn't know coming in as a rookie, what's going to help them win on the field. And I'm a big, actually, Deontay Hardy fan in terms of a deep league. If you can get him late, and again, it has to be a deep league. I'm not drafting him in a standard 12-team league, anything like that. But the Bills gave Hardy, I think at least in terms of the general contract, it's listed as 2 years, $9.5 million. Now, mind you, some of that money is bonuses, this, that, or the other. But you look at Isaiah McKenzie, who they had here, he was always getting that 1 year, $1.6 million contract in that range where it's like, we like you, but we don't know what we're going to get from you. Deontay Hardy was supposed to be this breakout player last year with the Saints. He suffers the foot injury. It doesn't happen. He's that yard after catch guy. He's someone that can stretch the field for you, has big time speed. I'm not someone in a standard league I'm going out and getting, but in some of these deeper leagues that I'm in, I wouldn't mind stashing him, adding him to my roster, and waiting to see what he could do.
Real quick, out of curiosity, you guys, this likelihood, do you think DeAndre Hopkins, any possibility he comes to Buffalo? I'm just curious.
No. And I mean, I think he's kind of telling on himself with his visits right now with the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots.
Right.
And listen, by all means, NFL careers are short-lived. Go get your money. Be happy about it. But if he was serious about winning a Super Bowl, he would have taken a team-friendly deal with Buffalo or Kansas City for 1 year and then tried to maybe go out and get a big deal elsewhere after the season. That doesn't look like the route that he's going.
Yeah, and I'm gonna double up on that. Listen, when you go visit the Patriots, you're not about winning. When all that, I need ownership, I need the defense, I need a quarterback, all that out the window. When they show you the bag, if you are reconsidering going back to Houston, right now you're thinking tax-free money, and you're not about winning. You're just about finish your career. You've played with every quarterback under the sun. So what does it matter to you anymore? So you know what? Go ahead and get your bag. You're not about winning, because if you were about winning, your ass will be in Buffalo right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you guys. My only consideration would be, is he just, because the Titans and the Patriots have a ton of cap space, is he leveraging them just to try to squeeze? Because I don't know if he's actually serious about either one of those teams. I just wonder if he's possibly trying to leverage that to get more money. But I was just curious what you guys thought.
From who, though? From Buffalo or Kansas City? It's not happening.
I mean, you can always restructure or extend. You could do what you saw what happened with Leonard Floyd, right? I mean, you saw the extension of that. Oliver didn't see that coming. His 5th-year option was huge. So what they did was extended, restructured, brought that cap space way down so they could fit a guy like Leonard Floyd. And they could do so many things to do it if they really want to. It's just a question of, does being in that front office want to do it?
All right, so we're going to combine the last positions just so we're not here all night. I want to keep my guest up all night. It's Friday night. We're trying to do our thing, right? But and Sal, I just want to address one thing before we go. First of all, love everyone watching tonight. Please, if you're watching, go to Fantasy Sports Corporation, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate you guys being here. All these great comments tonight, but I had to address one of them just really quick because it was really funny. and I had to bring it up. This is
Gosh.
from Teddy MV. He said Rico looks like he was at the BMW and asked if anyone wanted to be on his podcast. Hey, Teddy, with
You're
respect,
stupid.
fuck you. All right. That was good, though. That was good. I appreciate stuff like that. All right, let's go on. We're going to talk about, let's combine the tight end and defensive positions. I mean, because it's kind of a no-brainer if you're going to draft a defense. Buffalo's a defense you want to go after. They make plays. They get turnovers. I mean, again, when you look at the schedule, just like, we've talked about the AFC schedule, it's kind of up and down. There's some good points. There's some really, tough points too. So just to keep that in mind. Dawson Knox, we talked about Dalton Kincaid. You guys can probably refresh me in on Dalton Kincaid because honestly, I just been thinking Dawson Knox this entire time. Dalton Kincaid hasn't even crossed my radar, so maybe I just suck as a fantasy analyst, to be quite frank, but maybe he's somebody that's going to get in this mix that I'm just not really thinking of. There always is that guy that comes up, especially in the tight end position. Dawson Knox has shown some streaks of greatness, if you will, in the offense. But last year, didn't seem like he really Josh Allen went to him a lot last year. So, I got him right now as 18th. Not really a tight end that I'm looking for, but maybe as one of my last picks is if I need a backup tight end. That's where I'm looking right now. And Dalton Kincaid, you guys have brought it up, especially in dynasty drafts. He might be somebody you definitely want to take a flyer out of because I'm hearing a lot of good things from our Bills guys. But Justin, I'll go to you first on this one. What do you think of both positions?
I think they're both in the 20s right now. When you have two tight ends that, one you drafted really high and one's gotten you 10 touchdowns in the past, you kind of I envision that they're going to have, a tight end one season split between the two of them. So we're gonna be in for it if we do that and redraft. I do agree with you. Dalton Kincaid is a perfect dynasty guy. I think once they get rid of the Knox contract, I think they can void it out in like a year or so. And then they can move on to Dalton Kincaid being the predominant guy in that offense. And then as far as the Bills defense go, yeah, I'll put them in the top 10. I like that defense. And do you add in Leonard Floyd? He's going to go chase the quarterback now. Yeah, let's go all day long. I also want to see how Kaiir Elam starts to warm up into that defense because I was big on him last year. And I don't know if he came around or if he just kind of, didn't make it into the lineup last year because he started out looking good and then I just didn't see him there anymore. So I don't know. Maybe the Bills guys kind of lightened me on what went on there.
Nick, how about you? What do you think?
I like Dawson Knox. Now, last season he did have some injuries, and then of course he had the loss of his brother. So, in a statistic point, he did have a down year. But in 2021, he had 9 touchdowns. I mean, he is a dude. Whenever you say, "Hey, look, I need a team with some dudes on it," he's one of those guys. Now, when it comes to fantasy, Cooper, like you said, yeah, at this point he's a backup tight end. I have him ranked at 19th. He could be a name that could actually be a sleeper if that makes sense.
It seems like your boy Pierre Kingpin Rico thinks Dalton Kincaid could be that sleeper. He said it could feel like be the Diggs Kincaid show. We're hearing a lot of good things. I mean, we did the summer tour last year. We heard little sexy names. This could be the one that we're talking about later on. Jordan, what do you say?
Man, all offseason, I heard about Dalton Kincaid. He was, matched up with the Cowboys all throughout the pre-draft process. I love the kid. He's stupid talented. I think he's going to be a phenomenal tight end in this league. However, I think everybody needs to cool their jets a little bit. He is a rookie tight end. It takes time. They don't typically take off. You have your anomalies here and there, but it's usually later in the season when those guys pop. So for me, I'm not touching the Bills tight end room, at least to start the season. Granted, I'm typically a tight end streaming kind of guy, so I may have one or both of them at some point in my lineup. As far as the defense, I don't play with a lot of defense in leagues, but when I do, all about him. Give me all the shares of the Bills.
I'm with you. Ryan, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm not touching either of the Bills tight ends in fantasy leagues either. I agree with that. Dynasty league, completely different ball game, though, when it comes to Dalton Kincaid. The Bills, I think, plan to use him, obviously, in the 2 tight end sets, 12 personnel, but I think there's going to be times where he's going to line up in the slot this year and throughout his career in Buffalo and kind of play that quasi Cole Beasley role. Some Bills fans were referring to him as Swole Beasley, which I kind of liked after they drafted him. Just like that bigger guy that can create those mismatches in the slot. But to Jordan's point, rookie tight ends generally don't do much in year one. So for that reason, I'm kind of avoiding him this year, unless it's, again, a dynasty draft. Defense, by all means, draft the Bills defense. They've been solid statistically throughout this Sean McDermott tenure. I think they're going to be more aggressive this year. They had Leonard Floyd with 9 sacks 1 year ago. Von Miller was on pace for double-digit sacks before he went down with the injury on Thanksgiving. You could even make an argument that Greg Rousseau was on track for double-digit sacks before he suffered an injury as well last year, an ankle injury that limited him a little bit and really took away a little bit of his burst at times. So I like up front. The only player you really lost on that defense was Tremaine Edmunds. And listen, Edmunds was very good at what he did, but you're bringing back the core of the defense in the secondary. Kaiir Elam, real quick to answer what Justin was mentioning. Every time that he got into the game, he looked the part. But the one thing that the Bills recently said was there were some practice habits that they didn't like, that they were trying to phase out of him. And, he didn't really go into a deep dive on that, but this is just my opinion. Sean McDermott's a guy that doesn't want a player to come in and get beaten on a double move, give up the big play downfield, and he would rather go with a Dane Jackson, someone that's going to let a guy catch the ball in front of him, but he's going to stay behind that player. It's not going to turn into a 40, 50-yard gain. It's not going to turn into blown coverage and a touchdown. But I want to say in year 2 that Elam's going to have that shot to really establish himself, because when he was out there, he looked really good. He had some nice plays in the playoff matchup against the Dolphins, obviously in the regular season game against the Chiefs, a big interception in the end zone. I feel like every time he got the opportunity to get on the field, he looked really good. He looked really strong, and I have high expectations for Tre'Davious White as well now, a full year removed coming back from injury.
So Bills Mafia FUQs, I see you. I see what you're trying to do. I see you trying to razz me with the Dolphin talk. I see you. I see what you're doing. All right, Steve, what do you say, my friend? Tight ends and D, what do you like?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to defense, I agree with these guys. Top 3, top 5 defense. Pretty standard. As far as the tight ends go, hot take on my end, I'm extremely bullish on Dalton Kincaid. I'm with Pierre. I think if you listen to Brandon Beane, they had that video that they show, behind the curtains of the draft. And, they were talking about him having the best hands in the entire draft. Wide receiver, tight end didn't matter. When you watch tape of him, honestly, when I watch him, I know I'm a Bills fan, but he looks like Travis Kelce to me. The way he's able to create separation, to me, I think he's going to be elite. I'm not touching Dawson Knox at all. I think Kincaid's the guy you want. And I know for, rookie tight ends, it doesn't happen, but I think he's an exception to the rule. They're going to use this guy like a wide receiver. They're going to have 12 personnel. I think Dawson Knox is going to be there to block. I think Kincaid's going to be out there as the weapon. So I'm all in on Kincaid. I'll be getting him everywhere I can.
I'm going to rewind that back and put it in our YouTube shorts tomorrow, because you just said Dalton Kincaid reminds you of Travis Kelce. That's a hot take. I can love it. All right, Rico, close us out, brother.
Well, listen, I'm gonna be with Steve and Pierre, man. I know that it's not sexy for rookie tight ends, rookie players, nonetheless, to shine in their first year. But you don't go up and trade up for a tight end and not utilize him. I know this is fantasy, but it's also fantasy, and you want to move the ball. And Buffalo is ready to move the ball. And right now, they've been trying to find that Cole Beasley replacement, right? Isaiah McKenzie. There was a rotation. Isaiah McKenzie. Jamison Crowder was supposed to be the guy. Jamison Crowder was not healthy enough, right? So then in comes Khalil Shakir. And then they bring back Cole Beasley. They've been trying to fill that void, and they haven't been able to. And unfortunately, Cole Beasley came in the middle of the year, not completely in shape. So you can understand that he's not going to be the same player. But when Cole Beasley was in, it was connection left, right, center. So Kincaid is that dude. Now, here's a little nugget for you guys. So I was just at an event not too long ago, and I was amongst some players, interviewing some players, and talking to people that are connected to some of the players. And Kincaid's the real deal, man. And these are coming from players on the team saying he's the real deal. Dawson Knox himself said, I said, you know what? Give me someone on this team that is standing out to you, right? Could it be Sherfield? He could have said Sherfield. He could have said, old lineman. He said, you know what? I gotta go Kincaid, man. He's crisp. His hands, he must have mentioned his hands multiple times. He's the real deal. Do not scoff on taking Kincaid. He's going to be a weapon. I'm telling you right now, don't sleep on him. And it's going to be quite fun to see them in 12 personnel having these 2 tight end sets. And if you think they're going to be running the ball on you, play action. Listen, it's going to be a fun offense this year. We got an O-line that's ready to go. Don't sleep on Kincaid. I think he's going to be something special this year. And as for the defense, Ryan nailed everything, man. Tre'Davious White has been looking fantastic in camp. He's looking like more himself. Kyer Elam, and he's a tricky player because when he's in the game, he's making plays. He will make plays. But he's got these habits in practice where you're like, come on, man. And McDermott is very, show me what you got in practice. And if I like what I see, you're going to get in the game. But if you're struggling, I'm going to go with the old reliable and Dane Jackson. And they love Dane Jackson. So you got a 3-man race at that left cornerback spot or the cornerback number 2 spot. I'm hoping Kyer takes over. But this defense is going to be great nonetheless. McDermott is now taking over. He's going to be more aggressive. You're going to be guys getting after the quarterback. Think back to when the Panthers were solid, when they had that great pass rush. Defense was playing solid. You're going to see a lot of that in this Bills defense. So, I mean, everybody knows they're going to be a top defense. But don't sleep on Kincaid. He's going to be nice.
So listen, there's a few things that we get out of these summer tour shows for us. First and foremost is the great relationship we make. So thank you all. First and foremost, Ryan, Rico, Steve, appreciate you guys being in. But secondly, we always get little, as Rico put it, nuggets every time. And right now, I think we just got to go because I keep hearing that name. And when I hear something consistently, that means good things. So we're going to take that out of tonight. Watch out for Kincaid this season. Listen, we appreciate you guys. We're closing out the AFC East Summer Tour. Next week, we hit the NFC East. Ooh, that'll be fun. Hey, guess what? We'll be playing them this year, so we can have a little talk about that anyway. It was really exciting. If you, again, go to tssfantasy.com, check out all of our latest and greatest rankings. Go to Fantasy Sports Corporation, check us out, hit that subscribe button. Do all the notifications, all the whatever the hell else you're supposed to say. We appreciate you guys being in with us tonight. We appreciate you guys coming into us. Good luck to your Buffalo Bills. I hope you circle the wagons, except against America's team, the Miami Dolphins. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. We are out.